And welcome back to the show, guys. Another episode of the Full Subjects podcast. And today we are talking about, in anticipation of the event of the year, Cole and I's first time homebuyer seminar that we're going to be hosting tomorrow, the day that we're recording. But if you guys are listening to this on Monday, it will have passed. But we are going to be breaking down, if you are thinking of buying a home in the next 6 months, the Fraser Valley and the Greater Vancouver markets move fast, and the best deals go to the most prepared buyers. So today we'll talk about exactly what you need to do so that when the right property comes up, you're ready to act with confidence and not panic. As always, guys, this podcast is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute any legal, tax, investment, financial, or any other advice. It's not intended to cause or induce breach of any existing agency agreement. Cool. Let's take it away.
All right, guys. Yeah, as Austin said, we're gonna try to simplify this as much as possible. We're gonna talk about what you must do in the next 6 months. Sorry, what you must do if you're looking to buy in the next 6 months. Now, if you're looking to buy beyond that, this is still all relevant. But these are kind of the things that you should get on so that you're ready to go when it's time to actually buy. So, Austin, why don't we jump right into it?
Yeah, I think step one is obviously going to be you got to engage a mortgage broker, and you got to do it early. And I think I know a mortgage broker that can touch on why that's important.
Yeah, I do too, actually. Maybe I'll be that one today.
Yeah.
This is interesting, Austin, because you and I have talked about this before. Is the order here does kind of matter, and it typically isn't done in this order. So typically, people will talk to a realtor before they'll talk to a mortgage broker. That's not an issue per se, but what's going to happen is most realtors, and hopefully all of them, are going to say, hey, have you talked to a mortgage broker, or have you talked to somebody about getting your financing in place? Assuming you're not paying cash, because let's be honest, most people aren't paying cash these days.
Yeah.
But it's true, Austin, right? In reality, most people do talk to a realtor first because they think, oh, I'm going to buy a home. I got to talk to somebody that can help me do that. But as we both know, that first step is actually figuring out how much money is in your wallet, right, Austin? That's something that you like to say.
You're playing all the hits this morning, buddy. Playing all the hits.
Yeah, I'm taking the words right out of his mouth. So yeah,
I'm gonna have nothing to say on this episode now.
Yeah, so that's it, guys. We got to make sure you guys get not necessarily pre-approved. A pre-approval is definitely important, but just get an idea of what you can afford. And maybe that's just a simple pre-qualification, which is, hey, let's get some simple information. Let's give you a rough estimate. Now, with that being said, I do believe a pre-approval is important and should be done before you actually start shopping. And assuming we are looking to buy in the next 6 months, then I would say absolutely let's get a pre-approval. But at minimum, let's find out how much you can afford, and make sure there's nothing else that we need to worry about when it comes to buying, and make sure that we're not going to run into any problems when it comes to getting financing. So I kind of already hinted at number 2 here, and I'm going to throw it back to Austin for this one, because honestly, the next step is to talk to a real estate professional.
Yeah, and I think as we transition from one to the other, one of the other, to let you guys behind the lens here, one of the things that we wanted to talk about in an episode was that the Vancouver real estate market can be a very hot place. Obviously, we're active markets. We're seeing something that's a little bit cooler right now. You're hearing that on the news. But what I will say is, certain products, certain places, if it has those desirable features, if it's in a great area, well-priced, well-marketed, well-desired homes will always sell quickly. And the last thing you want is to be like, hey, I'm getting into the market. This is what I really want my first place to be, and then you not be in a position to move on it. And again, depending on your situation, if you're still living at home, if you're living with family, if you're renting, you might be able to be flexible with those dates, but you want to be able to move quickly on that right place if it does fit your criteria. So, after you've gotten your finances in order, step 2, that is super, super important, is to contact a real estate professional. Local expertise is crucial. Every neighborhood, Langley, Surrey, Burnaby, has different pricing trends, different pockets, different neighborhoods, depending on your criteria. If you're wanting to be in Langley, but you're wanting something with green space around you, you don't want to feel like you're in a busy city. There's different pockets that will have different features that will service your home needs differently. And we can help with the strategy behind that. And with that as well, the earlier you contact someone, the earlier that we can start to put this plan together. Do you have anything to add to that, Cole?
No, I think that's perfect, Austin. I think yeah, you got to align yourself with the right professionals. That being somebody ideally a mortgage broker as well as a realtor that's on board with what you're trying to accomplish and they have the right skills to help you accomplish what you're trying to do. So I think that's those two are absolutely most crucial in my opinion. And then beyond that, Austin, I'm going to jump into step 3 here if you're is that okay?
Go for it.
All right. So step 3, this falls into the financing category, if you will. Open a first home savings account. That is a really important one, and it's because you don't have to have the account open for very long in order to take advantage of the account. So
Hmm.
really simply, as long as you open it and the money goes into it before the money's taken out of it, you get the perks of using it. And what's nice is putting the money in gives you tax credits, so you're going to get money back. And then taking that money out for the purchase of your first home is going to be completely tax free. So I don't want to say you're double dipping, but it's a win-win situation. And it's not hard to do this. Like it's easy enough to set up the account, put some money in. You can invest it in something that's very low risk, just given that you have a short time horizon. Another great option is you can actually move the money from a registered retirement savings plan, the RRSP, over to your first home savings account without actually running into any issues or having to pay any tax for that transfer. So highly recommend it, especially because you can typically only use it once in your life. So you might as well do it the first time you're buying a place because that's when you get the advantage of doing it. Um, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty much all I got there. Go ahead, Austin.
if I can jump in, like, in a perfect world, this is something that maybe you're doing no, now or like a
Yeah, for
year
sure.
or year or two ago. Obviously, the reason that we have this as like step number 3 is like, if you were planning and your goal, you're listening to this and you're saying, "Wow, Austin, Cole, you guys have inspired me. I need to be in a new place by Christmas." Great. That that's an option for sure. If that account isn't open, it would be something to do, and you can move some of your down payment money into that. But maybe you're listening and saying, "Hey, look, maybe I'm closer to that 6 months mark. Maybe I'm going to be in my place for Christmas, and then January or February of next year, hey, it's going to happen." If you're one of those people, then open this account now because it will give you more room of funds
Mm,
that you can use in it. So for every year that it's open, you can move eight or basically put $8,000 into it. So again, if you open that now, you can do 8 grand now, 8 grand next year, and then be into your place and then reap some of those benefits. Again, this is not accounting advice. There was that disclaimer at the beginning, but it's a super handy tool. And if you have not opened this account, run, don't walk, and go do that.
Austin, that's an excellent point. I'm actually really glad you said that because assuming they haven't changed the rules, which to my knowledge they haven't, what Austin is saying, just to be very clear here, is that if you open this account in the year 2025 and you buy a place, let's say in the year 2026, you actually can put in twice the amount that you could in one year
Yes,
because the
correct.
calendar year is rolled over. It's based on a calendar year. It's not based on a year of having the account open. So that's a really good point because we're coming up to the end of the year here. So you can, again, take advantage of this to even more of an extent than other people could because you can actually maximize 8,000 for 2025 as well as 8,000 for 2026. And now if you're two people buying, that's up to $32,000 across the board because you can each have an account. So really good point, Austin. I'm glad you brought that up. Why don't you roll with the next step here?
Yeah, I think next up, we're calling this like financial housekeeping. So avoid big purchases, cars, furniture, etc. before approval. Pay down some high interest debt if you've got any. So credit cards to improve your borrowing pattern. Or borrowing power, sorry. Don't change jobs before applying because that's going to be one of the criteria. Obviously, when you go to get your financing, they're going to want to make sure that you're secure in your employment and that you would be able to continue to pay a mortgage. Stability is super important to lenders. And then also, too, start to identify what your closing costs are going to be, and maybe you put some money aside for that. That can include lawyers, appraisals, property transfer tax, depending on price point. That's important. Moving is can be expensive. We've done a whole episode on that. Um, we have kind of a cheat sheet that we use, myself and Cole, where basically it's like, hey, here are some things that you need to be um, in mind of if you're moving. We'd be happy to share that resource with you if you're listening and wondering, hey, what else can I expect to pay for? But yeah, just get that in order. Also, too, this is kind of going off script here. This is just talking from personal experience. Sounds funny, but just review your finances. Create, and there's so many great resources for this online. Even if you're using AI or other financial planners or financial people that can help you, but just review your finances. And what that means is like, hey, how much am I making each month, each year, every 2 weeks? What does my monthly budget look like? And that can include, hey, if I plan on purchasing something at 500K. Um, what's my mortgage going to be? What's my strata fees going to be? What are my property taxes going to be? Do I have a car payment? What's my phone bill? And just like write out all of these things as a personal budget. And that'll help your decision making too. And then with that as well, review what you're spending money on. Because this was a great tool for me. You kind of look back and you're like, wow, maybe I wasn't using my money the most efficiently. And we all have those splurges and purchases, but just get your house in order, if you know what I mean. Cole, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Austin, that's really well said. Honestly, I'm surprised you don't have your broker's license at this point. You really hit the nail on the head there. To be honest, that's. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like, don't take on debt. Just to reiterate what Austin said. Try not to change jobs. Obviously, things happen. We get that, but ideally, if you do change jobs, it's in the same field that you're currently in. And then, yeah, as Austin said, there's always extra costs. So don't think that, hey, I've paid my down payment, that's everything. There is extra cost. You want to make sure you have that money available, because you don't want to have to borrow extra money. I mean, in some cases you can't, but we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of that today. But anyways, make sure you have extra money on hand. I think that's really key. Also, I'm going to jump into step 5. I'm going to let you run a little bit more with this one, but I'm just going to give us a high level of what step 5 is. So, market education, like this is our job. Ultimately, this is what Austin and I can help educate you on, but it doesn't mean you can't do some of your own research and have questions, and just get an idea of what's within your price range. And Austin, again, can speak to this a lot better than I can, but it's still a good idea to get an idea of, hey, this is my budget. Where do I fall? And then be realistic about what you can afford. So yeah, Austin, I'll let you jump in on that a little bit more.
Yeah, under market education, first thing that comes to mind is like actually go look at places. It sounds funny, but you'd be surprised how many people maybe they plan on buying in an area because it fits their budget or fits their criteria of what they're looking for, that maybe they haven't lived in before. So they're making the decision, hey, I do want to a townhouse instead of a condo, and I'm willing to commute from Abbotsford instead of Langley or stuff like that. So drive around different neighborhoods, get a feel for the area, get a feel for the sizes of homes. That sounds funny, but your modern brand new 2-bedroom condo, if that's your first purchase, is going to be much different than your 90s build, older building. It's going to have more square footage, more, bigger room sizes typically, may not have the fancy high end finishings, but these are all decisions and considerations of like what you're looking for in a home that is ultimately going to impact you living in the home. Neighborhood education. With that too, it's good to track market rates, trends, Bank of Canada updates, all the stuff that we do weekly here on the show. A slight change in mortgage rates. We talk all the time about a Bank of Canada announcement. Is a quarter point drop going to be the difference between you purchasing and being able to afford a home and not afford a home? That I'm not sure about. However, with that too, if you do get pre-approved, you sit down with Cole and you're able to secure a rate, and rates do change, do know that you have a little bit of extra leverage in your pocket if you have locked in and there is a shift, because now all of a sudden you're saving a little bit of money as opposed to if you did wait. So sometimes that can leave 50, 60, 70 bucks a month in your pocket, and that all adds up.
Yeah, absolutely, Austin. And as he said, we're going to be on top of this stuff too, and we're going to share this information with you. And as part of a pre-approval, again, as Austin said, you will get a rate held for typically up to 4 months. Now, let's say you're buying in 6 months, and we need a little extra time. At some point, we can basically extend that to another 4 months, or at the end of the 4 months, we can then look at doing it again. Like we have a little bit of wiggle room. And as rates come down, obviously we're going to definitely take advantage of that if we can. And if rates go up, we're protecting ourselves against that. So it's a really good opportunity to put yourself in a position to, hey, I know I can get this rate right now. And if I find something, I'm ready to go, which just gives you a little bit of peace of mind. So, um, yeah, so those are the 5 steps. We're gonna throw a couple bonus steps at you here. Just these kind of build on what we've already talked about. So I'm gonna rattle off a couple here, and I'm gonna give Austin a chance to do one too. So for my sake, and this is strictly, and for your sake as well, you can start getting documents organized. That's immensely helpful. And what I'm talking about here is, Austin's laughing, is income documents. So tax
Oh wait,
documents like.
oh wait, I'm gonna need that. Yes, start now.
Yeah. Yeah, tax documents. Ideally, tax filings are really helpful. For if you're a salaried employee, it's usually fairly simple. You got to produce a pay stub that shows, hey, this is how much I've made so far this year. This is how much I'm getting paid every 2 weeks, or however frequently you're getting paid. And then a job letter. The job letter is what your employer provides and says, hey, this employee has been working here for X amount of years or months. This is how much money they make. This is how many hours are guaranteed if it's an hourly employee, and as well as a way to contact the employer, because the lender is going to want to find out, do you actually work there, or is this a fake job letter? I'm not joking about that, because people unfortunately will do this. I've never come across it myself, but it's the reality of it. So anyways, having documents ready is great, because it makes my life easier and it makes your life easier, because we're going to need them anyway. And then this is another one that kind of comes at the financing side of things. Is there anybody that can help out when it comes to your down payment, or giving you some extra money that will help you maybe reach a higher price point? Let's be honest, Austin, the reality is we live in a market where things are very expensive. We're seeing gifts as a very common practice now. Getting a gift from an immediate family member is definitely welcome. And if it's an option, then it's something that you should definitely consider, because it might put you either in a better position to afford more, or keep a little bit more money in your pocket, so that you're not spending all the money that you have.
Yeah,
Austin, do you
I
have
would.
one? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that that's actually, and I want to be careful with how I say this, but I would say that that is something that's fairly common, especially in our market. Sometimes that can be, a lot of people I think can afford the mortgage; they're paying rent already, but um, saving up is the issue, and sometimes family helps that. It's like, here's the down payment, or a portion of it as like a gift, and then welcome to your first place. But sometimes too, maybe you do have some savings saved up, and maybe that's the difference between 15% or 20% down, and then you can change your amortization, or maybe you're really, really hoping to get your payment under a certain number, and a small gift from family can be the difference of saving you $100 a month, stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely ask. We're seeing it a lot more common for sure. And, I would say like significant amounts of funds, fairly common. I think there was a CIBC article that we did an episode on, like saying the average down payment gift was like 150 grand or something like that, which is insane. I don't want to misquote that, but it was a large
Yeah,
number,
it
and
was
we
a large number for sure. I don't know the exact number offhand either, but yeah, it's more than people think. And I mean, that's because things are expensive. Like, if people want to be able to buy townhomes and detached homes, like, they need a large down payment, and a lot of people don't have that money because they just finished university, like, where they haven't had a chance to even save money. Do you know what I mean? So, um,
Mhm.
it's the reality of it, and all we're saying is, if there's an opportunity, it can be worth a discussion just to find out, because worst case, you're in the same position you're in now. At least you had the conversation. Uh,
Fun fact, just so I don't misquote myself, little Google AI, the average gifted down payment for a home in British Columbia was approximately $204,000 for a first-time home buyer, and $230,000 for those moving to larger properties as of June 2024. We could do a whole other episode on this, but I just want to highlight the word average. I would love to meet these people. But again, a story for another time. That's a lot of money.
Austin's looking to get adopted, you guys, in
Yeah,
case it
yeah.
wasn't clear.
Yeah, if anybody wants a realtor son, let me know.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, as we kind of tie up our bonus here, is just continue future proofing your choice. Will this home work for you in 5 years? We talk all the time. Now I get to steal one of my quotes back. Is it the 5-year plan, the 8-year plan, or the 10-year plan? And what I mean by that is, how long do you see yourself in your first place? Do you want to reach and maybe spend a little bit more than you wanted to get into that 2-bedroom place for your first place so that you know you have a little bit more runway with it? Or is it just get me out of my house? I want my own space. And you're going to enter the market at an entry level product. We cannot make those decisions for you. We are here to ask key questions and help you with those decisions. As we wrap up here, Cole, do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, I think that's good. If you want to do a quick summary, I think that'd be good. Just go over the 5 points really quick. But yeah, guys.
Yeah. So 5 key takeaways from today: contact your mortgage broker, contact your realtor, open your first home savings account, start your financial prep, whether that be figuring out your expenses, finances, all that stuff, and then do some market education. And then if you want to do bonus, start getting documents ready, talk to family, and just do all of the groundwork before you actually, put in an offer on a place and really go seriously looking. So, if you guys have any questions at all, as always, please reach out. And we'll see you again next week.